and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's video is another Around the World in 30 Days hop. It's organised by Kristen Burkhart Carson and it's to scrap photos from holidays, either domestic or international. Today's is a domestic photo and it's of my children back in 2010 when Mum and I took them to the beach in Wales for the day. It was in April, so it was still fairly cool, but it was a really, really lovely day. So I'm using Heidi Swapp Sun Chaser, and I had this scrap of 12 by 12 paper, and as soon as I saw it, I thought, what a wonderful sunburst. And I wanted to mirror the reflection of the water that I've got in the photo of the kids using my Distress Oxide inks. So I've chosen some colours that are fairly close. I don't have a huge collection of Distress Oxide inks, so I'm just trying to use the colours that I actually have in my stash already. So starting off with this one to match that tealy blue green. I can't remember the colour now, but you will have seen the lid. And then I'll slowly build up the colours at the bottom, making them watercolour like that, just using the marks that I've marked on the white cardstock as my guides. So coming in with this orange now, dried marigold. And I'll just leave you to watch me building up the colours. And it's this point I bring the paper down to check that I'm meeting the colours to the marks, and I'm not. I've obviously skipped one somewhere. So I'm not too bothered about the colours bleeding into each other. I want that effect. So I just carry on with this fossilised amber, but then the blue, the tealy blue colour, I'll come in with over that, just so that I've got them back up and matching again. And now I'm happy with the build-up of colours on that bottom piece. I'm going to move it to one side to dry, and now I'm going to cut each of these shards and distress the edges of each one, and then I'll put them back together on the paper once it's dry. So I won't make you sit through everything, I'll just show you a couple. And you'll see I'm quite rough with my cutting. I don't mind because it's going to be distressed anyway. It really doesn't matter if the lines aren't all that straight. So I'm just trimming off that bit there, and then I shall carry on. And now they're all distressed, I'm just going to line them up onto the paper to make sure I've got them in the right position. And you'll see when I start to glue them down, in fact I messed up anyway, but it was an easy fix. So just putting those into position, and then I'll start gluing everything down just with my wet PVA glue. And it's as I glue this corner piece in that I realise that I haven't left enough of a gap between each of the papers, because of course with the distressing it's taken a tiny bit off the edge of each paper, so I should have left a very small white gap. So I just glue down the last few bits, and then I'll pull up that orange piece, the peachy piece next to the pink one, and try and reposition that. But the PVA is doing its job, so I'll get that one up, but I can't move any others. So I just accept that there's a gap. I think by the time I've added the photo and everything else, you don't really notice it anyway, so it's fine just the way it is. So bringing the photo back in to check placement, and I definitely want it to be on that central part of the sunburst. So doing my usual trick of adding some tissue paper behind the photo as the mat. Just again using my wet glue to glue that down. It's the Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, I do love this stuff. And then just trimming around. And it just adds a matte, but a nice dreamy floaty matte without being too stark against the colours of the background. And then this is a new Cutfile from Amelia Creates at Hey Little Magpie, which is just perfect for this photo at the seaside. So using those 25mm sticks to foam pads on a roll, which I use in every video, just to raise that photo up so that it becomes the star of the show. And I want to overlap the Cutfile onto the photo, which does present a bit of a problem because it means I have to mount it all up on foam, so it takes a little bit longer, but it's worth it for the end result. So coming in with my T-ruler, just to make sure that everything's square, double checking where I want this title to go, and I want James's legs to be in between the words at and the, just so that the Cutfile isn't covering those up. So when I have to mount Cutfiles onto foam, I find that using these sheets of A4 foam are the best, the fun foam with the adhesive on one side. So just using my pencil to mark where the Cutfile overlaps the photo, so obviously I don't put the foam on there, and then I'm just going to go through, cut thin strips of the adhesive funky foam and adhere that to the letters. And when the strips are thin enough, it's easier to manipulate them around the Cutfile like I'm doing here. So I'll leave you to watch that. I will fade out in a bit, I won't make you watch everything. And as soon as that's all backed, I realised that I definitely want to colour this Cutfile in. I wasn't sure whether to leave it white or colour it, but because of all the colours in the background, I decided that I want to bring in some of the yellow from the sand. So using my fossilised amber ink, I'm just roughly going over it, watered down, just to add that colour without too much depth. So now while I leave that to one side to dry, I'm going to start looking through the embellishments that I have from the Sunchaser range to see what to add. So I've got the puffy phrase stickers, which I'm going to leave because we've already got our title on there. So I start with the ephemera pieces. And straight away I love this tag. I do love a tag on a layout you will have seen if you've watched any of my previous videos. And then just picking through, and this note to self I think will be great for adding my journaling, because I just want to put a little bit about the day. And then picking through to see what else I might be able to use. Try a few different things. And it's at this point I realise that I really do need to bring the Cutfile back to see where that sits, just so that I'm not adding embellishments that I'll then have to take away because the Cutfile's in the way. I love a good tab. So that one says better together at the top, and it works nicely with these two, but it doesn't. In fact, I change it for a different one in the end. I'm just pulling out now some JD3D Print pieces from his latest kit by the seaside. those starfish are perfect because we found a load of starfish at that beach that day. And now I'm going to add my journaling, so just adding some guidelines for my writing. And then I'll go in with my black gel pen to write that. And again, having a quick sift through these ephemera pieces to see if there's anything else I want to add. And I pull out a Fun in the Sun title and another tag that says Joyful. I love the colours in this Fun in the Sun title. I think it just brings all those colours from the background paper in. And that Joyful tag echoes the tag that I've got on the right hand side there underneath the Note to Self piece. So just having a fiddle. And I'm quite happy with the placement. I like the way that everything surrounds the photo, almost like an extended frame. And then I want to add a flare badge, and this is one that we designed for the Doodlebug, the new beach. I can't remember what the collection is called now. It's in the new beach collection that they've brought out. But again, the colours this year, all the colours seem to work with one another from the different manufacturers, so this works well. And it says Capture Moments on a banner, which I quite like. And that sun, again, that I've got in my hand there is from James's JD3D Print kit. I want to add that. I like this gingham style, but I can't get it to work. And it changes the shape of the layout quite a lot by adding that. I do like this title as well that says Have Fun, but I don't want to have it on the photo, so I decided to leave that. Just trying it in a few different places. And this is when I find a different tab that says True Story. And again, I like that that has all the colours that we've got in the background paper, so I use that. And I'm just punching another tab so that I can add my date. So that will be layered with that True Story tag, and writing the date on some scrap white card to add to that tab. Once that's cut out, it will just be stuck on, and it just makes it stand out a little bit more than having it just handwritten on a punched piece of paper. Keep picking up this Nouveau Deluxe that's very nearly run out, but I managed to squeeze just enough out to stick it on this tab, and then that'll go down there. And once that's stuck down, it's time to stick down the cut file. So again, using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, just mopping up some bits of water that was still on there, it hadn't quite dried, and then turning it over to add the Nouveau adhesive. And I'll quickly grab my T-ruler just to check that that's straight on the page. It's very difficult to tell when the letters are up and down like that, but just lining it up with the bottom of that A just to check that it is relatively straight, and then I'll start going around the page and sticking everything else down. So starting with these starfish, and because this one is half on half off the photo, again I'm having to add foam to the left hand side just so that it doesn't come unstuck in the album, because it would be uneven. I don't add glue to the foam, it isn't necessary because there's enough glue on the photo side of it. And then sticking the smaller one down. And then the flare, and then that tag. And you'll see here now I have a bit of struggle with this tag because I can't remember exactly where it was. When I've stuck that down I realise it's definitely too high. So while I'm sticking this title down I'm trying to remember how it was, but I can't, so I just pull it up and move it down a bit and fiddle and decide that that's where it's going to sit. So just moving the tissue paper out from underneath the photo and then adding this sun. I really like that for the pop of yellow, and it echoes the yellow in the starfish on the left hand side. Just holding it down for a couple of seconds to make sure that the glue sticks it down. And then I'm going to look at these definition stickers to see if there's anything in here. And I do find a couple just to add to the top left hand corner of that photo. The first one says ready for adventure. And they really were. Had a whale of a time. And then I find another pink one that says in the moment, well it's peachy pink, in the moment, and that goes below it. And I'm just going to add another square of foam underneath that title where it comes off the edge of the page, again just so that it doesn't tilt down and look wonky once it's in my album. So now I'm going to go through the sticker book to see if there's anything in here. And straight away I see these. I think they're supposed to be photo corners, but I use them as chevrons and I love them. So I'm going to put a group on the right hand side of the Cutfile title and then a couple on the left hand side just to balance it out. And then I find these transparent hearts which go up in the top left hand corner. So again, to add some balance, I'm going to add some stars to the bottom right. And once I find these little transparent ones, I realise and remember that I should add some JD3D Print stars. So I'll bring my little box out and flip through, and I find a black one and a gold one that go really nicely on there. And it's nice to bring the black in a little bit because we've got that on the note to self tag and the writing on the true story and joyful, and it isn't really much else on the picture apart from the kids' bare trousers. So it's nice to bring a bit more black in. Just gluing those down again with the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. It's so handy, nice fine tip, and it glues it really strongly on there. And now I'm just looking and deciding what else needs doing, and I remember that I need to thread the tags. So choosing two colours of Gutterman cotton, a pink one and a yellow one, and I'll just string those through as a continual piece from one tag to the next, looping over the top of the layout and then securing it at the back of the layout after I've positioned it. And once that's secured in place, as soon as I flip the layout over and just secure it on the top there, I know that I need to do something to that cut file just to give it a little bit more definition. So I go in with my black gel pen and just draw a line in the centre of all the letters. And I really like the way this looks. It certainly gives more definition. Just on the word seaside, I leave at the plane, so I'll fade out now so that you don't have to watch me doing all this. And there I am, just finishing off the last letter. And of course, I can't finish it just doing the letters, so I do the centres of the chevron as well, just to tie it all together. And that draws the eye right from the left of the page to the right. So I like that. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Check in the description box below for everybody else who's joining in on this fun hop. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much. Bye.